Hi guys! It is currently 4:48 p.m. on Tuesday. My daughter's off school today, but then she ended up going to a play date today. So my brain is like, what is going on? Not in like an overwhelmed way, just in a like, spinning way. But I wanted to say that let's see. Last night she actually spent the night in my room. And she slept really, really well, which was awesome. But I'm proud of myself because this morning, I did two meditations actually, and some like, I call it spontaneous tapping, like random tapping, where I'm literally just tapping. Like, I'm not even just breathing and tapping. And then I ended up making this awesome, I knew it'd be like decent, but I had no idea, but it ended up being absolutely delicious. And it was toast, like those little, like I think it's like French bread, the little slices. And then I put those in the air fryer with a little bit of butter. And then I had the leftover chili on top of it. And I don't know why, partially probably because I was, starving, but like it was so good. It was so, you know, what's the word? Not nourishing per se, but hearty. Hearty, that's the word. So we did that, and then we did Ring Fit, and I did the puzzle while we were doing Ring Fit because that helps my brain. And I was using my puzzle hacks, and it was just so cool because it's like two games in one. Because then by the time you find, like, you've got like the border, right? So you do the border before you do you know the separations into the bags, the quadrants. But the cool thing is that as you're taking from the uncategorized puzzle pieces, you pick up a piece and you match it to the poster that's on top of the puzzle. And when it ends up being visually pretty close to the border, then you can take off the poster and put it straight into the puzzle, And so that way I've almost got quadrant three probably halfway done without having to take each piece and be like, I don't know. Like, it keeps the reward system going because you're either finding a piece, like locating where the piece is in the quadrants, or you're finding where it's located in the actual puzzle. So it kind of honestly like really increases your reward system because it's not that you only get a reward for finding where the actual piece goes in the puzzle, if that makes sense. So I set a timer for an hour, and so we did that, both of those for an hour. So I worked out. I did my push-ups and crunches. I did my 6 day of 30 or 30 for 30, and I did that while attending an ADHD summit. And I thought it was going to be like an hour long, like a webinar, and it was like expert after expert after, like just straight. And I was like, oh wow, this is incredible. And so I worked on my room during that. And then when we found out the play date was going to happen, I was like, oh, we're going to use this like, like task reward. So I told my daughter, I didn't say you have to clean your room before you can go. I just said, hey, work on your room. And I gave her like a category to work on. And the goal wasn't to get it done, just like with my room. The goal was to get progress made, especially when I knew she had that like immediate reward coming, which is, it's just a really good way to do it. I also, yeah, I did all this today so far. I also took a bath, and when the bath water was filling up, I ended up wiping down the door of the bathroom because I was like, oh, that's kind of, But again, it's only for like 2.5. I haven't actually timed it, but how long does it take to fill a tub? It doesn't take 20 minutes, right? And that was so exciting because like that's totally working that system. And so I did that. I took a bath. I did not do a meditation in the bath. I listened to another thing, and it was actually about busy moms, but they were actually talking about journaling again. And I thought, okay, maybe that's the universe being like, girl, you need a journal. Um, but that was like productive. And then I did the song, and I might even release some tears in the bath. And then I took a shower, and I did my bending over, hang thing in the shower very carefully, but it's very, what's the word? Soothing, but what's the word? Sensory. Yeah. And I I worked on my room some more, which is amazing. I vacuumed my rug. I started a load of laundry. And we actually got switched to the dryer, so now it's in the dryer, so it's like done for all intents and purposes. And we took out the trash, but it's like I said, it's not even so much about the tasks, even though that's a really good thing. It's about how I'm feeling and how it's flowing versus like, especially the bathroom. I am so overly excited about that, but that's just really, really cool. And, you know, I also did do it, like if I feel like I have more energy, I'll do it while it's filling up, and then after my shower, the extra song thing. But even one of those is still 3 minutes every single time, which is just really cool. And it's so ADHD friendly, honestly, or just anyone, because you are doing a task that you do want it to get done, and you're doing it in a very short burst with a very definite stopping point, and then you get that immediate, like truly immediate reward, so it's I really think it's cool. And then after all that, and then she left for the play date, I was a little bit lost at first because I wasn't expecting that, and I was like, but then I ended up attending another webinar, and just learned some more things, which I love to learn. So yeah, it's been like, I definitely need to, I guess, journal, but it's just really cool for me. Some people, this might be like repetitive to learn the same thing for multiple different things, but this is me stepping out onto a new paradigm. So the more from different sources that happens to cross-reference, the more credibility it gives that part of my brain that doesn't want to change. It's like, no, see, people are actually doing this. Like, every single thing that I have found, and I didn't know this was going to happen, but every single thing that I have found, one of the things they talk about is, taking care of yourself, like taking a couple deep breaths. Like, these aren't wastes of time, you know? And I know that, but the fear part of my brain is like, the fear part of my brain is the one who went to therapy, and then when I started crying in therapy one time, was like, I don't have time for this, as if it wasn't ever appropriate, when absolutely that's appropriate. So I'm rewiring all that. I'm getting that elephant on board, but it is happening. And the ease at what I got all that done today, with my daughter, and with, without conflict, without, butting heads. It was just like, oh, well, that's reasonable. So that being said, I'm just really, really proud of myself, honestly. I did do some stretches today too. But yeah, I definitely, especially the ADHD Summit, like, it's just so cool to see that these things that I gravitate towards for whatever reason, and it's like, not only are they preferences, but they're actually advantages, like, if you said, read this speech, and it was in like Times New Roman 10, and the person's like, and they felt safe to be honest, and they were like, I can't read this speech at Times New Roman 10, but I could read the same speech, on index cards, broken up or something. It's the same task. But now it goes from I can't do this to this is how I can do this and enjoy it and bring my best to it. Like, that's exciting for me personally. So I'm going to, keep doing that. And one of the things I learned about today, they were talking about going slower, which that's what I've been talking about. Now, mine was out of like pure desperation necessity, but hey, I'm still on the right track of like, just slowing it down. Like, even making the thing today, because I've been practicing this, I was like, okay, what's the first thing we need to do? And then, okay, what do we need to do in order to accomplish that first thing? But instead of it feeling like I was stagnant or I was overthinking, it was like I was guiding myself through it, if that makes sense. That's how it felt. And I'm just reminding myself it's a process, because I'm like looking at my room and it's not even bad, but my brain. And I even shared the bathroom thing on the webinar today, because I truly do want to help people. So I'm just excited to help people, because not only do I know that if I can do it, you can do it, but I also know that if I can figure out things that work for me, if anything, I'm better at finding out things that work for other people. I've always been able to help other people. It's just trying to figure it out myself, for myself. So it's really exciting. And I think what I'm going to do now is maybe I'll think of another regulating thing, like another thing I do to regulate, and add that to the playlist, because that's really cool. I did the thing with the ball today again. I did the scalp thing again. And it wasn't even because I was necessarily, in crisis mode or in fight or flight. It's just more of, when you learn about the brain, like repetition. When I was a teacher, like in a classroom, I would always say my philosophy is repetition without redundancy. So it's the same concepts over and over, but you present it in different ways, so that it's kind of like that 360 approach. Each part of the brain gets to absorb it. So my point is that I'm practicing these skills of regulation so that they're not this weird thing I'm doing to myself in a moment of, I don't even say crisis, because it's not crisis. I'm just trying to really down regulate my system, like overall, like really. And, if I've opened that neural pathway, then it's like, oh, this is what we do. Like, this is, it's not like you're reinventing the wheel when you're having a panic attack. Like, that's not the time to possibly be thinking critically, So, yeah. And also, it just feels good. And, what was someone saying today? And I found that so insightful. Let me think if I can think of it off the top of my head. Oh, one massive reason, I'm telling myself too, one massive reason that if you say you're going to work on something for 10 minutes and then your body and your brain comply, that you should not go over 10 minutes, like you should not try to trick yourself, is because then I have chills, because it just was like, yes. If you do that and your brain and body, like you're pushing more, like it's one thing if you genuinely want to do more, but if it's like, well, no, I really should do more, it's teaching your brain that if it gets stuff done, all that's at the end of that tunnel is more work. And so it's going to create more internal resistance. That's not exactly what the person said, but that's what I got from it. And I'm like, there you go, So I like that. I like, like, I call it meta learning, where it's like, it's not even about the willpower, it's about how our systems operate, you know? And so it's like, okay, so that's a reason to stop at 10 minutes if you say you're going to do it for 10 minutes. It's not about, well, do you have more motivation? It's that you're training your brain that it can trust you. You're training your nervous system that can trust you. And that's why when I drove to the gas station and then I was going to do 10 more, and I used to do that in the past, that's why it backfired massively. Because what I was actually doing, what I was actually doing was teaching my nervous system that it can't trust me. Yeah, that's huge. So, anyway, I know this is long, but I hope this is helpful. And things haven't landed yet, but I'm just, I only speak the truth, and I'm just really excited because laundry's done, like the bathroom, trash, and we're doing the leftover thing, and that's working. And I realize I don't even have to just put the leftovers there. I can put whatever's defrosting. Is that word? Yeah, that sounds like frosting. But in the process of defrosting, so it's like this is the acute section. If my fridge is a hospital, this is the, needs to be handled first. That's so funny. And that's also where like vegetables that are almost, we had celery last night too, which was funny. But yeah. So anyway, I think I'm just going to lay down for a bit before my daughter comes back, but I'm just really happy and I hope this helps. Okay. Love you guys.